right. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Rabbi Joseph Kolakowski, the Koblenzer Rebbe. And on Quora, we saw a question from Diana Chris, and how long were the Hebrews in Babylonia? So I made a 23-minute video on this subject, but I want to just make a brief video with a briefer answer, just to kind of give that opportunity. So the simple answer would be that in the year 586 before the Common Era, what Christians would call BC, the Jews were exiled, and watch the whole video to explain a little bit more of that. The Jews were exiled from Jerusalem. The first temple, Solomon's temple, was destroyed, and they were exiled to Babylonia for 70 years. And then a part of the community came back and built the second temple, which stood for over 400 years after the temple was rebuilt. However, so the simple answer would be 70 years, but the truth of the matter is the Jewish community stayed there in Babylonia after that. The majority of the Jewish community remained in Babylonia, and the fact of the matter is that a vibrant and strong Jewish community stayed there in Babylonia until about 70 years ago, until really 1948, and even later there continued to be a small Jewish presence until about, I think, maybe about 10 years ago. I don't think at this point we have any established Jewish community in Iraq, but the Babylonian Iraqi Jewish community is ancient, very, very ancient, and remained there for the most part. The majority, certainly at the time when the first temple was destroyed and the second temple was built 70 years later, the vast majority stayed in Babylonia. Later, the Persians took over it really around the time before the second temple was built, actually. So during that 70 years is when they changed hands from the Babylonians to the Persians, and so that from there you have Jewish communities both in Iran and in Iraq, Iraq being Babylonia and Iran being Persia. Those two countries had, and Iran still has to this day, a vibrant Jewish community, thousands of Jewish people still living in Iran with their synagogues and everything in Iran. But you asked specifically about Babylonia, so the Babylonian Jewish community remained really consistently from the destruction of the temple in 587 before the Common Era to very, very recently, so about 2,500 years, included some of the greatest parts of the Jewish history and Jewish literature, meaning we had not only books of the Bible, of course, were written in Babylonia, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, but also the Babylonian Talmud, which is the main Talmud that is studied by pious Jews to this day, obviously called the Babylonian Talmud because it was written in Babylonia, in present-day Iraq, and so forth, and even after the Talmud, you had the other great rabbinical leaders in Babylonia. Again, to the 20th century, certainly in medieval and pre-medieval, post-ancient times, or semi-ancient times, the Rav Sadia Gaon and other great leaders, and like I said, to the modern days, the Ben Ish Chai was the chief rabbi of Baghdad in the late 19th and early 20th century, one of the great rabbinical leaders that we have. So all throughout history, there were Jews in Babylonia really for 2,500 years, and And there was a Hebrew presence there before that as well. Obviously, that's where Abraham himself came from. And we discussed that a little bit more in depth in our other videos. So thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to find out a little bit more about this subject, you can watch our other longer video. Take care.